So I've completed the sections. Now, with this particular system, okay, the more sections I put in the hair, the softer the layering is going to be, okay? And I start off on the top of the head with a square section here, and then from there I take a section that goes over the ear, and then when I come to do this section right behind the ear, one of the things that I do is I take the hairline section and I drop it out. And the reason why I do that is because there's no hair right here behind the ear. So that way it keeps the bulk. So all of these sections are more or less pied. Okay, so they're all basically coming off the crown section all the way through. Again, this would be the section right behind the ear. Again, you can see I have dropped out. And then when we come through into the front, we have side section, fringe section, and on the long side, or on the left hand side, we have this fringe section, and then we have the side section. Okay, so I'm going to start at the top, and the one thing when you see me cut is that none of these sections are going to blend. So in other words, when I come through to do excuse me, the side section, this section here is not going to be a guide for the next section here. All of these sections are going to stand alone. Alright? So after I've cut, I'm going to take the hair, put it back into its home, and then go on to the next section. So the only place where the hair is actually going to blend is going to be right here on the top. Okay, so I take my first section, which is going to be the crown, and I'm going to feel for where Aries occipital bone is, which is going to be like around here. I'm going to take that, measure it, okay, and then lift it up, and all of this is going to go. So okay, so take this section here, bring it over, measure it to the occipital bone, lift it, okay, and then that will be my length. Now this here is going to be the shortest length. So what I do is I take this and I want to see exactly, I want to make sure that it's going to flow right just below the occipital bone, okay, because I've got to add shrinkage to that. Okay, then I always start on the ear section, so you know what you can basically start wherever you like. I mean, there's no real reason. Okay, but I take this, okay, and I'm going to lift this hair using my square section as my guide, and then the angle of my fingers has to be such that, you know, I'm going to be cutting to the shortest point here, which is going to be from my baseline. So I'm going to be cutting at a really, really steep angle. Okay, so I pick everything up. Everything comes from that square section. Tons and tons and tons of tension. Okay, and then after I've cut, take that square section and this hair that we have cut here, take it, put it back in its home. So like I said, this is not going to be a guideline for my next section here, okay? You want to keep the hair as wet as possible, so I'm using our cutting lotion, which is our Tangles Be Gone. It's a very, very light leave-in conditioner and cutting lotion, okay? And take the next section, but dropping out the section that I left out here. I don't want to cut that. Lift this hair straight up using my square section as my guideline once again. Okay, and lower you just a bit. There we go. Okay. Looking for my guideline, fingers into the position that I want to cut the hair to. Tons of tension coming through to my outside shape. Okay, and then I take that hair that I've just cut, and again I'm going to put it into its home. It's right here. And I'm going to do that all the way around the head. So, you know, the technique that I'm using is really, really quite simple. I mean, I'm not over-directing the hair, I'm not, you know, getting into any kind of weird angles or degrees, okay? But I think, you know, the hardest part about doing this is figuring out, you know, the length that you're actually going to take the hair to. And that's where the, you know, working with the balance points come in. Okay, so I don't want to cut any of that. Alright. So again, lots of tension. I mean, the more tension I put on the hair, actually, the softer the layering is going to be. So I take my square section, make sure that that stays out. Take the section that I've just cut, and I'm going to put it right back into its home, okay? I'll take my next section here. Lift this up, pick up my top section, and again, keep my fingers in a really steep angle. Okay, so that I'm coming through, and my guideline to go to will be the base that I originally cut into the hair. Keep that out. Take this next section. And just keep coming around. See, as long as I have that top section as my guideline to cut from, it's virtually impossible for me to get lost. But I think, you know, it's really, really important that I do not use each section as a guideline for the next section. Because it's so easy to get lost when I do that, because then all of a sudden I've got way too much hair in my hands. And this way, you know, I'm able to control the hair that I want. Section out there. There. Finish this section off here. Put that back in its home. Okay, and now I'm at this section here, right behind the ear, with the part that I have left out. Again, coming back to my top section. Really steep angle for the fingers. Tons of tension. So that flows into the section that I left out. So now I am at the ear section again. So remember, the angle of your fingers is actually going to be determined by the length that we're going to leave the outside shape to. So the system allows you to create all different lengths depending on, you know, what your client and you had in mind during the consultation. Okay, so I'm into the side section now. And then when I come into the fringe section, my fingers are going to be at a very, very steep angle. Lift up my top section here, and just taking that much off. Okay, so that I leave that and it still comes around, okay? So it still comes around, so it still comes underneath the chin, which is what I want, okay? And place this back into its home. Then we're going to do the fringe section on the left-hand side. take the top section. And fingers at a steep angle is my guideline to go to. Okay, so that we leave that as long as possible, so once again it comes to underneath the chin. So I'm going to put that back into its home. And then my last section will be the side section. Again, lifting up. And then the fingers at a really, really steep angle. So then cutting right to my outside shape. And that is basically all there is to the system. So everything is coming off this top section here, okay? So now, if the hair was very, very thick, what I would do is take each section and then with texturizing scissors I would go through and just texturize each section. But with the hair being as fine as it is, I'm not going to do that until I've finished blowing the hair dry. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, take all of these out and comb this hair down. So we've retained the length, okay, but now you can see how much we're going to get here with volume, okay, but still retaining the length right here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use, I'm not going to use a round brush, I'm going to use a flat brush to blow dry with, okay. Now the reason why I'm going to use a flat brush is because I want the hair to work by itself, okay? Like if I'm going to use a round brush, okay, what's going to happen is I'm going to put like false volume in, which is going to make it, I mean it's going to look great when it's finished, but it's going to make it really, really hard for the client to do. Because, you know, trying to round brush one's own hair is pretty difficult. So the thing about the technique is to get this hair to do what you want it to do in context with the type of hair that I'm working with, okay? So to help me, okay, I mean I think you can see, you know, even if we let the hair dry by itself, it's going to have volume in through here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use two products to blow dry with. I'm going to use a product that we have, it's called CSV, and it is a root boost. And the nozzle is very, very small, and the idea is so that you place the product exactly where you want some extra volume to be. So what I do is I take the CSV and I'll place the nozzle right in at the root. Because the idea behind this particular product is to give the client extra volume right at the root area. So I take it in sections, Okay, all over the head. And that's what's so nice. Like this product, you know, it should not be flocked. It should not be like flocked all over the head. Because if I do that and then when I sell it to the client is going to do that, and 9 times out of 10 she's going to use too much product, and then instead of getting the fullness that she wants, it's going to go flat. So I have to really make sure that the client really understands, you know, how to use the product, because I think there's nothing worse than actually just selling the product to the client, and then the client has to sort of figure out, you know, exactly how much to use. Whereas ourselves, we are the stylists, and it's really up to us to be able to show and to teach the client, you know, exactly how to use the product and exactly how much to use. And then she's going to use it the right way, she's going to get the results that she wants, and then when she comes in for her next haircut, she's going to ask for that particular product again. So that's how I would utilize the CSV at the roots. So it's specifically a root boost. Okay. So the next. Okay. Stop.
Just keep going.
Just keep going? Okay. We're just going to ignore this.
Yeah.
So the next product I'm going to use is Transform. Now what this is a volumizing blow drying spray, okay? And so this now can be sprayed on the hair from roots to ends. And then after I've sprayed this on the hair, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to comb it through. Okay, so that we've got really good even distribution of the product.
You know, since we're a working salon, just pick up the phone and see what they want.
Pick it up.
Yeah. See what they want. Let's see what they want.
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah.
Even better. There's probably a hotel guest who wanted a blow dry.
Okay, so now I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to use the flat brush, okay, and I'm going to start at the top to give the hair, you know, the volume that I want. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow dry everything coming forward, okay? And I'm going to do that for 2 reasons. One, it's going to give me some really nice lift at the root, and the other reason is because it's going to be really easy for the client to do, because, you know, she's going to ask me, well, how am I going to blow dry this myself? And if I tell her that all you're going to have to do is blow dry all of this coming forward, then it's going to be really easy for the client to do. a little bit hard to see, but right here there is an arc of graduation, which is, you know, basically what I want to see, because that's telling me that, you know, the system that I used is working. And then so you see, it gives the hair just this seamless layering all the way through. So it gives me the soft volume that I want here on the top. It retains the angle, excuse me, it retains the length that I want to see running through the bottom, okay? And I don't think with Ellie's hair we need to do any kind of texturizing whatsoever. I mean, I've got that seamless layering, which is what the whole system is really all about. And it's giving me the volume that I need on the top and through the front. It's giving me the softness that I want on each side. So the only other thing that I will do is I have a just finish off with the texturizing spray, okay? It's like a hairspray, but it really just, you know, texturizes the hair through, gives the hair a little bit more volume. Right. You like? Okay. So, let's just go through this one more time. Can we take this off? So you've got that white blouse, right? Underneath? Great. Okay. That's better. Alright, so took about an inch off here. I think that the important thing in the front is to make, well, for my particular system, is to make sure that I don't over-direct the hair in the front, okay? Take sections following the root system, angle the fingers into the position that you want this hair to fall into, okay? And do the same thing on the left-hand side, so that this hair just comes around underneath the chin, okay? Then take a square section on the top and then pie all of the other sections off the square section, and this square section here is going to be your guideline for all of the rest of the sections that you've put into the hair. The angle of your fingers, first, take this square section here, measure it anywhere between the crown and the occipital bone, depending on what you want to see right here on the top, okay, as far as the length. Then from that square section, lift up each of the sections that you've partitioned off. Fingers, you can angle your fingers into any angle that you want depending on how long you've left the hair here on the outside shape, okay? Go all the way through, and then when you blow dry so that everything is coming forward so that it gives you a lot of lift at the roots, and finish off with the blow dry. Now, when you blow dry, okay, I used the Cool Shots of Volume because it has this very, very small nozzle here which allows you to direct the product exactly where you would like the fullness to be, okay? And then after that I used Transform, which is a volumizing blow drying spray. About 7 or 8 pumps all the way around the hair, comb it through so that we've got roots to ends, and then I blow dry with a flat brush. When I shampooed the hair, I shampooed the hair with our volumizing shampoo, okay? This has chamomile in it, and it's formulated to not weigh the hair down. And then on the ends, I used our all-in-one conditioner, which is our daily conditioner, which is a really, really good detangler. If you have clients with long hair, put it on the hair at the wash basin, leave it on for like about 10 seconds, comb through, rinse out, and it will just get rid of all of the tangles in the hair, okay? The one thing that I would recommend is this. When I sell any type of shampoo, or especially conditioner, okay, I always make sure that the client rinses the hair out until the hair is squeaky clean. So, that is my class for today. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.